Coffee has been around for hundreds of years. And just like salt, sugar, and rice, once it became mass-produced, it was a race to the bottom for prices. In business school, they'll tell you not to get involved in industries like this because it's almost impossible to make a good profit. This was true for coffee as well for a long time, until Starbucks came along. So how did Starbucks convince the world to pay $3 for a cup of coffee that costs them 30 cents? They employ a scientific method of selling called behavioral economics. Behavioral economics is largely the study of how people make decisions which are less than perfect. Let's look at a few examples of what they've done and whether we can employ them in our own businesses. The cup names are ingenious. Starbucks changed the name of their cup sizes to prevent them from being compared to other coffee shops. If people were used to paying $1 for a medium-sized cup of coffee, Starbucks couldn't suddenly start charging $3 for a medium-sized cup of coffee. They had to remove the comparison that happens in people's minds. The behavioral economics term is called anchoring. Once we hear or see a price point, it sticks or anchors in our mind, and we won't easily pay a higher price. To get around this, Starbucks simply changed the name of their cup sizes to tall, venti, and grande. And so is the pricing of the cups. The difference between their medium-sized venti and their large-sized grande is just a few cents. It seems like a great deal to pay just a few more cents for a whole lot more coffee. When Starbucks sells over 10 million cups of coffee a day, those couple of cents quickly add up. What they've done is employ a technique called the Decoy Effect. Suddenly, the large-sized grande seems like a great deal compared to the medium-sized venti. But if we compare it properly to the medium-sized cup of coffee across the road, we'll realize how expensive it actually is. Create an in-crowd. Social proof is where we tend to follow the crowd or do what the cool kids do so that we can fit in. We tend to watch the same movies as our friends and go to the same restaurants that they do. Starbucks created this social proof by reimagining the coffee shop. They created this hip and vibey atmosphere and brand that people were drawn to. More people came into the store, and they got to leave with a cup of coffee that had both the Starbucks name and theirs on it. This proved that they were part of the hip crowd. The pumpkin spiced latte. We usually consider Fomo when we find out about our friends' Friday night plans, though it comes into play whenever something is limited in quantity or in time. The behavioral economics term for this is called loss aversion. This means that we feel twice as much pain from losing something as we would the pleasure from winning the same thing. Starbucks employs this tool brilliantly when it comes to their pumpkin spiced latte. It's available around Halloween time for about 2 months. And of course, they charge a premium for it. The higher price and the limited availability combine to maximize the Fomo effect, thus making it a hit year after year. Doing good as well. Starbucks realized that they were creating a lot of waste with their single-use cups. Their first strategy was to offer people a 10-cent discount whenever they brought in their own reusable cup. This had hardly no effect because the amount was just too small for the individual, even though it may add up on Starbucks' balance sheet. Their second strategy was to introduce a Starbucks reusable cup that they sold for $1. Suddenly, people valued it more and could also allow their friends to see just how eco-friendly they were. Just this reframing of the offer sent the usage of reusable cups up significantly. How to apply it in your business? Perhaps you have an appliance store and want to use the same techniques as Starbucks. Let's say you have two toaster brands and they both cost you $10. You would be inclined to sell them both for $15 each. But instead, you could price one at $15 and another at $25. Most people who walk into the store will realize that the two toasters are quite similar and buy the $15 one thinking they're getting a great deal compared to the $25 one. Anyone who buys the $25 toaster will be making you 3 times the profit. It's a win-win for you. You either sell more toasters because of the great deal, or you make more profit on the more expensive one.